Adventure Coast Southport is one of those parks that splits opinions. Some say it's not worth it, and others absolutely love it. So I'm going to go through each of the attractions that I experienced to see what is worth keeping, and whether this park deserves a lot more credit. Right, it's difficult to figure out what the headline attraction at this park is. So I'm going to start with one of the larger attractions, and that is the Ultra, which is their booster. Now, I've done a few boosters in the past. It's not a ride type that I've been on a huge number of times. Obviously, we used to have, was it Spin Doctor at Blackpool, which was 2 of these. You know the kind of thing. It's the big tall ride with a couple of seats at the top and a couple of seats at the bottom, and it just spins around. This one was really good. I actually really enjoyed this one. The ride op suggested I sit on one side so that I could see across to Blackpool, and I certainly could. I was stuck at the top for quite some time, waiting on the other half of the ride to load, but I had a lot of fun on it. You know, decent flips, decent force, great views. It was chilly the day I was there, but yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, so I'm going to start strong. Chuck this one in the keep pile. Right, a ride type that I typically do enjoy is like a Twister, Sizzler style ride. They do have one. I believe it is called Twister, and it's kind of loosely themed to Transformers. By that, I mean the Transformer logo is on the back of each car. Beyond that, there's not much in the way of theming. It was a weird one. Conceptually, it's exactly what you expect, right? The motion, the way it moves is what you would expect. But there was something about it. It was definitely not the standard model. I don't know if it's been built in-house, if it's just by a smaller manufacturer. It was pretty tame. Now, I don't know if that's intentional, because, you know, the park obviously caters for a breadth of demographic. So maybe this one was just aimed at the younger kids and therefore not running at full force. Or maybe it showed its age, I don't know. But it wasn't too bad. So let's chuck it and take it or leave it. Okay, shameless cred time. They do have a wacky worm. It's known as Odin's Little Dragon. And I mean, it is just a wacky worm. There's nothing special about it. As you know, if you've watched this series, I'm a great believer in having small coasters for that younger audience to introduce them to the kind of thrills of a coaster. So whilst I did it, you know, because the cred's a cred, I personally wouldn't do it again, but I'm still going to keep it. Right, and the next one kind of caught me off guard a little bit. So this park is one of the ones that is a combination of credit-based or wristband. Although I think the wristband might only be at certain times of the day. It was available when I was there, so I took full advantage of it because, well, I planned to ride as much as possible and I didn't want to be limited by tokens and credits. However, I initially thought this next one, Paradox, I don't know how I got this wrong, but I had in my head that I saw somewhere it was 6 credits, which was the upper end for them, and I was like, what on earth is this? Like, it's literally like a wooden structure building, and it just says Paradox, and you're thinking, what on earth's inside there? Well, it turns out it's just a glorified Miami ride. I don't think I've ever done a Miami ride that is indoors, but this definitely was. And again, listen, this ran a decent cycle. It was reasonably quiet. There was only a handful of us on it, but the guy just kept it going in both directions. And yeah, I had a decent amount of fun on this one. So quirky to have it indoors. I'll keep it. Okay, so just opposite Paradox is the Ghost Train. Now, there are a few things. I'd seen the facade of this, probably in other people's vlogs, maybe pictures online and stuff. It's got this big giant eyeball outside and stuff. And I'd heard mixed things. To be fair, I'd heard mixed things about the park in general. But I went into this Ghost Train knowing nothing. Well, the only thing I'd heard was it's like it's in a massive warehouse, and if you look up, you can see the ceiling. So I went into this, and it started off kind of quiet, and I'm like, this is a bit crap. And I could see up to the ceiling as people had suggested. And then just out of nowhere, you son of a jump scare. Guy came right up behind me and screamed in my ear. It properly caught me off guard. It was, I mean, by the end of it, I was giggling. I think some people would be terrified. Because it's that kind of lull you into a false sense of security. It's really quiet, and you're thinking, okay, this is tame, this is boring. And then literally screamed, followed me around the rest of the track, asked for a fist bump at the end. I really liked it. I thought it was brilliant. I I'm curious if I did it a second time, now that I know, it probably wouldn't have the same effect. But listen, I really enjoyed it, so I'm going to keep it. Sticking in that area of the park, they have a ride called Enigma. Now, it's basically a gyro swing. I can't tell if it's just not the best model, or if it's showing its age, or if I've been spoiled because around about the time I went, I'd just been on Evictus, and I went on Evictus later that day. Yeah, I just didn't do it for me. Like, it's one of those that I think I would have enjoyed it probably more so had I not done Evictus. So some people will get enjoyment out of it. For me, it just felt like it was kind of on its last legs. It was kind of tame. It wasn't really forceful. So I'm going to scrap it. Right, moving a little bit around the park, they have a pirate boat known as Ghostly Galleon. And it's kind of a mid-size pirate ship. Definitely been on significantly larger, but it's not the really, really small kids version. So I kind of didn't know what to expect on this one. I filmed a clip on there, you know, talking about what I still had to do. And I was on the thing to myself, by the way. It was quite quiet. Every time it got to the end, because I was obviously sitting at the far side of the boat, but I came properly out of my seat. So I really enjoyed it. For a kind of mid-level pirate ship, it was pretty good. I'm going to keep it. Now, some of the rides that I'm going to list probably are temporary. I kind of got the feeling that the park brings rides in and takes them away and stuff. So this next one, I suspect, isn't there frequently. Maybe it is, I don't know. Some of them look a little bit more permanent than others. This one was Chaos, and it was right at the back of the park. The first ride I went on, actually. Also kind of gyro swing-esque, but it's a weird, I don't know which model it is. I'll find out and put it on the screen, but it was one of the ones that it's small, so the swing wasn't too large, but it was more about spinning. It was just spinning, spinning, spinning. I wasn't a huge fan. I don't know. As I say, I don't think it's there all the time. So take it or leave it. A ride type that you probably know I like is their kind of wave swinger style attractions. They have one, I think theirs is just called Flying Chairs. It was a little bit different. I mean, I still enjoyed it, but it was kind of quirky because, and I pointed this out in the vlog, normally with these, you've got the ride in the centre, spinning around, and then off to the side, you have a ride cab, where the kind of ride op sits and presses buttons and all that kind of stuff. This one, the ride op stands in the middle of the ride, with everybody flying around her head, which was weird. I can't remember the last time I saw that. But nonetheless, it's still a ride type I enjoy. I'm going to keep it. Another ride type that I do typically enjoy is the waltzers, and they do have a set. Now, again, I called this out when I was there. When I rode it, it was a single operator, so obviously she had to man the controls. I don't know if on busier days they add a second member of staff who will spin you, but because of that, on my visit, it was just free spinning, and it was okay, don't get me wrong, but there's definitely something to a waltzer when you have a member of staff spinning you. It adds to the experience. So for me, this was a kind of mediocre set of waltzers. I'll take it or leave it. The next one, I'm terrible with the sort of travelling fair ride models, so somebody will correct me if I get this wrong. I think the next one is a Matterhorn model. It was known as Snowjet. You know, it's the one where the kind of cars swing out as it kind of goes round and round and round and round and round. But here's the thing. The first couple of rides I went on had very long cycles, and I was very impressed. So I was kind of a bit nervous going on to this, because whilst I enjoy this ride, it's one of the ones that if it goes on too long, you're like, okay, I've had enough now, could you please stop? It didn't. It was kind of a bit tame, to be honest. I sort of expected a little more based on the other rides I've been on. So, although I enjoy the ride type, I just could have done a little more, maybe. So, take it or leave it. Okay, the next one, I mean, I almost missed it. So, there's a building over in the far, well, sort of towards the entrance, actually. And I think it says Vikings on the building. So, I was like, what on earth is this? What's in here? And I went in, and there was a tracked dark ride, which the woman's like, oh yeah, it's kind of a Alice in Wonderland ride. Okay, so I went on it. Very weird, very slow, vaguely Alice in Wonderland. I think it's called the Toy Shop, Toy Workshop, Toy Factory, something like that. The name will be on screen. It was also kind of weird because, look, I get it, they obviously try to save money and be efficient and stuff, but as the ride progressed, you could see the next section lighting up in front of you. Like, it was obviously triggered on sensors going, oh, there's nearly a car here, turn the lights on. And presumably it was turning them off behind me as well. Now here's the thing, I didn't realise this at the time, but people have said to me that this is a former Magic Mountain ride from Blackpool Pleasure Beach, which I don't remember going on. I would have been at Pleasure Beach a lot around about that period as a child, so I probably did go on it and I just don't remember it. But for that alone, for the fact it's got some nostalgia, I will keep it. It's not great, to be honest. It's more the nostalgia side of things than anything else, although not for me personally. But yeah, as I said, we'll keep it. The next ride falls probably into the bracket of isn't always there, because I'm pretty sure I saw on their Facebook page, hey, the remix is now on site. So either it's a brand new edition, and it is now permanent, or it comes and goes and it was just there coincidentally when I was there. I can't remember the actual model name. It may be, I think some people have said the remix. Again, I'm terrible with the models from sort of travelling fair rides. You'll recognise it. There was one at Towers for a period during the Retro Squad. Here's the thing. It's a visual spectacle. It's one of those rides that off-ride, you look at it and you go, wow, look at that, spinning around in all sorts of weird positions and stuff. And this one had, this one was going at a decent pace. Maybe I'm just weird. I found it very relaxing. Just enjoyed it. Just chilling out, getting flung about in all sorts of directions and banging tunes and stuff. I'm going to keep it. Now, the one thing the park definitely is lacking is some coasters. Now, it used to have Traumatizer, which is now in Fusion at Blackpool. I believe there used to be a wooden coaster called Cyclone, also gone. So you've got the Wacky Worm that I've mentioned. There is a coaster called Rocket, but it's been SB&O for a while, and on my visit, there wasn't even a train on the track, so whether that ever comes back again or whether it's dead, who knows. But they did have a runaway train ride. Fairly standard, to be honest. Again, one of the early rides I went on, and the first few rides I went on, my god, the cycle was long. I think I got about 6 laps on this thing. It's one of those, I know I like to keep rides for the younger audience. I've already done that. I've kept the Wacky Worm. And this is a step up from that Wacky Worm. But take it or leave it. Now, it was a nice warm day, so they had a log flume, and I thought, why not? I'll do that. Got in the log flume, and I got flashbacks to Valhalla because the woman had a kind of Henry Hoover thing, and she was sucking out the water, or trying to. Didn't really do much. The boat was still quite wet. Very, very slow out the station. In fact, the conveyor belt through the station crawls to the point it felt like it was turned off. And then leaves the station quite slow. One hill, one drop. And in that drop, that's when I realised how much water was in the boat, because it all went flooding forward. Yeah, I mean, a log flume has its place. I believe there used to be a different one, a bigger one. At least that's the impression I get from the comments. This one, also take it or leave it. This one I couldn't find on their website, so it probably falls into the travelling variety. A couple of the rides I've mentioned also aren't on the website, so probably are short term. It's the kind of frog hopper one. I don't know what the name of it is on site. You know the one. It's got the frog in the middle and it kind of bounces up and down and stuff. Again, one of the early rides I went on, massive cycle. And it was a reasonably good cycle because I had a massive cycle on the same sort of ride at Fantasy Island, and most of the time the guy just held us up there and occasionally dropped us. This one was good. This one had a lot of bouncing. And again, I said it in the vlog, I like that kind of funfair style vibe and the loud music. It reminds me of my youth, and this definitely had that. Had the tunes pumping out. The guy was doing a decent cycle. I'm assuming it was manual, kind of bouncing me up and down a lot. I really enjoyed it. So whilst it might not be permanent, I'd still keep it. Right, there's my review of the ride lineup at Adventure Coast Southport. Now, as I said, some of these come and go, so you may have experienced these rides. They may not be there on your next visit. There may be different ones. But if you have been to the park recently, I'd love to know your feedback, because I know some people went, you know, when it was owned by the Thompsons or just after, and had some fairly negative views of the park. It's under new management. It does seem to have changed a little bit. So if you've been in the last year or two, let me know what you think. And please do share memories from before as well. If you enjoyed this one, hit that like button and do subscribe. I've been Chris, you've been watching Coaster Dad, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios. Adventure Coast Southport is one of those parks that splits opinion. Yep. Some say it's not worth...